Tomorrow is cut deadline day. Who's in? Who's out? Big Deep News. So yes, tomorrow at 4 p.m., the Steelers and the rest of the teams in the NFL are going to have to finalize their 53-man rosters. So for today's show, I thought it'd be appropriate to give my final prediction for this 2025 Steelers team when it comes to who's going to be on the roster for Week 1 against the Jets. The good thing is, at least for me, I'm not even trying to be lazy here, but I did my 53-man roster projection last week heading into the final preseason game, and our game against the Panthers came and went. We got the dub, and I'm not going to lie, I think it's pretty much the same team that I projected from last week with a couple caveats. I will say that. So let me run through the names, and then you guys let me know in the comments if I'm leaving anyone out, but I feel like this is going to be the 53. I'm standing by it. Not much in that preseason game against the Panthers has really changed my opinion. So let's start with quarterback, Rodgers, Rudolph, Will Howard, / Skylar Thompson. That's one of the caveats I'm talking about. So, we're going to keep Will Howard. That's a definite. But I do think we are going to go through the whole IR approach, delay the decision on what to do with the third quarterback, have Will Howard just chilling there, but then keep Skylar Thompson as the third guy, and then wait and see when you feel like Will Howard's healthy or ready. And then if you want to bring him on to be the third guy, you have a trade partner with Skylar Thompson lined up, or maybe you cut him. But, I think we're just delaying the decision there. What are we ultimately going to do? Who knows? We could maybe keep Will Howard on IR for the whole season and have Skylar Thompson remain R3. That's a possibility. But that's what the 3/4 quarterbacks are going to be. We're not going to keep 4 on the 53. It's going to be 3, but with the IR designation for Will Howard, that'll enable it to be Rodgers, Rudolph, Thompson to start the year. But my initial prediction was Rodgers, Rudolph, Howard, but the possibility of the whole IR thing, started to get floated out there, and I think it became a real possibility after Skylar Thompson's third preseason game. Skylar did not overtake Mason Rudolph. I'm telling you that right now. He did not overtake Mason Rudolph for QB2. He's QB3. The regular season and what you've done in games that matter has to count for something. The fact that we're paying Mason the contract that we're paying him, I mean, it's, $4 million per year. Meanwhile, Skylar Thompson, we picked up on one of those reserve/future contracts on the vet minimum. So that counts, and Mason's history here counts as well. The fact that he is a winning quarterback in regular season games compared to Skylar Thompson and what we've seen him do in regular season games before. And it's not like he hasn't balled out in the preseason in the past either. He's done that with the Dolphins. And then, again, we've seen him in regular season games look not so hot. So there's levels to this. Mason Rudolph is definitely the guy to go to if we have to at some point in this season as a backup plan to Aaron Rodgers. It's not Skylar Thompson. Come on. Come on, bro. We may still try to trade Skylar Thompson at some point here because there's some quarterbacks that are going down around the league. Aiden O'Connell with the Raiders. Maybe that's a possibility, possible trade partner. We could send Skylar Thompson over there. Maybe some of you guys are thinking we could send Mason there and then Skylar could bump up to 2. I don't like that. I don't. I think you got to keep Mason as the number 2. And then Skylar as the 3 with Will Howard on IR. So that's the quarterbacks right there. Running backs, Jalen Warren, Caleb Johnson, Kenneth Gainwell. I don't think Lou Nichols is cracking the 53-man roster and is going to be one of the guys in the running back room. But I hopefully think maybe we could keep him on practice squad. Receivers, DK Metcalf, Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin III, Scotty Miller, and then Ben Skoranek. Tight ends, Muth, Jonnu, Darnell, Connor Hayward. Offensive line, Broderick Jones, Isaiah Malu, Zach Frazier, Mason McCormick, Troy Fautanu, Ryan McCollum, Spencer Anderson, Dylan Cook, and Andrews Pete. Now, I wouldn't be surprised. Here's another caveat. Wouldn't be surprised if we pick up an offensive tackle out there, depending on how these roster cuts go around the league. Wouldn't be surprised if we pick up another offensive tackle in place of Dylan Cook, and then we keep Dylan Cook on the practice squad. Defensive line, Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, Derek Harmon, Y.A. Black, Logan Lee, Daniel Aquale. And I was thinking about it. I was thinking about putting Loudermilk in there in place of DeMarvin Leal because there's this whole thing with DeMarvin Leal. I didn't really realize whenever I gave my first 53-man roster projection last week, and that is we have fully switched him over to like outside linebacker, edge rusher. I thought we were still going to keep him versatile. Maybe we are to an extent, but that's his 100% main position now, and he's already got 4 guys ahead of him. Even though he's coming off of probably his best preseason game that I've seen from him. Looked pretty good. Had some snafus out there, but I thought Marvin Leal looked pretty explosive whenever he was out there. I still think Leal's going to make it, and Jerry Dulac brought up this thought on WDVE today.
And DeMarvin Leal might, when you look at the numbers, I don't know where he fits, but I will tell you that Mike Tomlin likes him. And as long as Derek Harmon is injured, that gives them an opportunity to have an extra body. He's not a special teams guy, so then the argument would be, okay, they drafted him as a defensive lineman, but he hasn't played there the entire preseason. So, he's kind of a tweener in that regard. But if I had to guess, I would say he's going to make it because of the Tomlin likes him.
I think it just comes down to the talent wins out. It comes down to Tomlin, Steelers liking DeMarvin Leal as a talent, as a player, the upside over what Loudermilk brings to the table. Even with Derek Harmon being out with injury for potentially a couple weeks, and shout out to me, I called that. I called that night of. Remember, we were getting all the information coming in with the Derek Harmon injury. We saw him on the sideline, all that stuff. What did I predict? I said, this is going to be a 2 or 3 week injury. He's going to be out a month. Maybe we'll be out 2 to 3 weeks. But we're hearing even better news that he might only be out for week 1, and that's it. And then he could be there for week 2 against the Seahawks. Either way, I mean, we really dodged a bullet with that one because there were big-time concerns that Harmon was going to be out for the season with an ACL. It turns out just to be a knee sprain, and it's going to be a few-week injury. Probably just going to miss a regular season game or 2. So thank God for that. But in terms of that final roster spot, 2 guys on the bubble, DeMarvin Leal, Isaiah Loudermilk, I'm just going to go with DeMarvin Leal because of the talent, because of the upside still. Even though we still haven't really found a solid role for him. We got him bumped to the outside now, but he could still play inside. Who knows, man? Who knows? He's coming off of his best preseason game, even though he did have a couple hiccups there. He did look explosive. He did have some nice moves out there. I'm going to stick with DeMarvin Leal. That was my feeling from last week, and that's what I'm going to stick with. Could go either way. That wouldn't be surprised if it's Loudermilk over DeMarvin Leal. Edge rushers would be T.J. Watt, Highsmith, Jack Sawyer, Herbig. Inside linebackers, Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, Cole Holcomb, Malik Harrison. And for that final one, I'm going to stick with Mark Robinson over Bruner. I think Mark Robinson with the special teams and just that familiarity is going to keep him here. Bruner, though, definite practice squad candidate. Cornerback JPJ, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay. James Pierre coming off the pick. I think he sticks around. Beanie Bishop, don't know what the hell's going on with him. I mean, I think I did have him as not a lock necessarily to make the 53, but I had him in my 11 final spots. But he didn't play in last preseason game. Now, people are saying it's injury, but I don't know, kind of weird. Because Terrell Austin came out and said before this Panthers game that Beanie Bishop, this was a big opportunity for him. This was going to potentially make or break him, and he didn't even see the field. Is there controversy or conspiracy going on there? Or was it just he was injured and it wasn't really reported on? I don't know. Just something that doesn't really all add up. But I think Beanie still makes it. Beanie still makes it. James Pierre, that last cornerback spot is between James Pierre, Dante Kent, Corey Trice, and James Pierre's got the special teams coming off a pick against the Panthers. Whereas Corey Trice, Dante Kent, not available. Yeah, kind of a bummer there. Kind of a bummer, especially with Trice's potential and then Dante Kent being a 7th-round pick. His ability to do some punt return stuff. Very fast guy, athletic. But obviously, like any of these guys that we don't keep that has a name, that has familiarity or, something invested in him, he's going to be a practice squad candidate. So hopefully we can keep Dante Kent around for that. Safeties, Chuck Clark, Juan Thornhill, Sean Elliott, Miles Killebrew. Oh, Brandon Echols as another cornerback. Forgot about him. I'm throwing Brandon Echols in there. Actually, that could be something that we do. We keep one less cornerback and one extra defensive lineman. So it would be we keep both DeMarvin, Leal, and Loudermilk, and we let someone like Beanie Bishop go. Someone on NFL.com was bringing up Beanie Bishop as a trade candidate. I mean, I could see it, with us having JPJ, Ramsey, and Slay. Brandon Echols is our top 4. Someone like Beanie Bishop does become expendable, and if a team is looking for a slot corner who had success in his rookie year like Beanie Bishop did, 4 interceptions, also had a pretty decent preseason. So there's obviously more to his game. There's more development to be had, and with the cornerbacks that he's got in front of him here, it's safe to say that it might not be developed at as high of a clip as what Beanie Bishop or the Steelers would want for this upcoming season. But with cornerbacks, man, secondary, you can't have enough. So I think we should be keeping Beanie Bishop. I think unless we get some haul in return, we get a really nice draft pick in return, I don't see how it would be worth it to trade him. I think if anything, you look at us having Ramsey and Slay ahead of Beanie and say those guys are really good mentors, because Beanie's only going into year 2. He's still not even hitting his prime. He'll be in his prime in year 4 or year 5. And even if this is a down year for him where he's got to wait and chill behind the scenes, it could do him wonders for the long term. So I think we should keep him. Boswell, kicker, punter. It's either going to be Cam Johnson, Corliss Waitman. Obviously, I'm thinking it's going to be Cam Johnson, but I wonder, here's another thing. We were just talking about a Beanie Bishop trade. Maybe it just comes down to what we could get for either punter. Like if a team is willing to trade something for Cam Johnson as opposed to no one's willing to trade anything for Corliss Waitman, maybe we trade Cam Johnson just so we can get that draft pick because we feel like the difference between Cam Johnson and Corliss Waitman isn't that much. But if it just comes down to in a vacuum, we make the pick between Cam Johnson and Corliss Waitman, I think we go with Cam Johnson. Then Christian Kuntz will be the long snapper. So that's it. That's the full 53. Let me know where I got anything wrong. And we already did make some cuts. Let me go through the cuts that have already been made. There's really no surprises. There were 11 cuts that were made over the weekend. Logan Woodside, Evan Hall, Kevin Fulch, Doug Nestor, Julian Pearl, Kenny Willix, Cam Alexander, Quindell Johnson, Kyler McMichael, Mikey Victor, and long snapper Jake McQuaid. So there you go. I mean, that is basically confirmation that Christian Kuntz is going to be ready to go for week 1. So that's, the second piece of injury news that is very positive. Along with the Derek Harmon stuff, Christian Kuntz, we were wondering if he was going to be out for half the season. Looks like he's going to be good to go against the Jets. But I think that's it for today's show because I kind of covered some of the side topics and extra things involved with this 53-man roster while talking about the quarterback and Skylar Thompson, Will Howard IR stuff, Beanie Bishop, the Derek Harmon injury, DeMarvin Leal versus Loudermilk. So, I think we kind of covered everything and potentially bringing in extra offensive tackle or O-lineman, depending on the roster cuts around the league, versus a Dylan Cook. I think I kind of covered everything here. But this is the same 53-man roster prediction I had going into the Panthers game. So I'm sticking with it. But as I mentioned, some caveats. Some things could happen between now and week 1. Just some things to take note of. But that's kind of what I have it as. Let me know what you think I got wrong, what I'm missing. But hope you enjoyed on a Monday. Stay chilling. Peace.